Welcome back. Now, the topic is how to get there. First, what's there? You want a Ferrari, a beach house, a country house? Wow, millions of dollars. Your wants and your desires have been programmed by the media, by propaganda, by your scarcities, things that happened to your family. They lost everything, became immigrants. Your first 10, 20 years were suffering. It's okay. It's the normal life of people, especially immigrants, especially of the third world. People don't understand. The United States today, 100 years ago, was the third world. All kinds of miserable people from Russia, from Italy, from Germany, suffering from all kinds of wars and diseases, went to America. The immigrants who came to America were miserable. In Europe, they were called Les Misérables for centuries and centuries. There's a famous book called Les Misérables, explaining the situation of Europe, how it was. We can say that it was a little bit better a few decades ago, but that's about all. So the last 1,000, 2,000 years, Europe has been a horrible place of plagues, of wars, of miseries, of homeless people, of orphans. When you read Great Expectations, when you read the books of Europe, you realize it's a story of misery. So we have to avoid this kind of thinking is, oh, the other side is better. The garden of my neighbor is better. The other world is better. They're all horrors. If you go to the East End of London, or if you go to New Jersey, or the big ghettos of the main cities of the United States, Detroit, Chicago, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Seattle, we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands and thousands of people suffering from fentanyl, homeless, living in tents. So this idea of America's great, Europe is great, even China is great, everywhere is a mess, a total mess. The governments, they're trying, but they don't understand. They don't invest in education, training, getting better, getting smarter. They don't understand that. They're basically political parties. Political parties get organized for power, for staying in power. It's all about manipulation. It's all about scheming. It's all about making deals under the table. It's not about getting better and smarter. So these countries will always have problems. Even when you have a technological breakthrough, in 10, 20 years, it's all gone. They spend the money in Ferraris and nightclubs and drugs and wars, and it's all gone. So when you have a lucky strike, you become arrogant, you become narcissistic, egocentric, and you lose everything, and it's back again to Les Misérables. There. So where is there? It's not a yacht. It's not Boca Raton, the Hamptons. It's not a palace. Let me explain so people understand. The bigger things you have, the more things you have, the more you have to pay. The more maintenance. Remember, high maintenance, less living. More bills to pay, less time. It's all about how much time you have to get smart, how much time you have to enjoy, appreciate, and how much time you have to rest your body and your mind so you get it. You figure things out. The more you have, the busier you have to be paying for everything, working for everything. The more taxes you pay, the more you're a target. So, where is there it has to be a simple place, a safe house, a safe haven, somewhere where you can live well, but not in luxury. Luxury is not living well. Luxury is status mongering. Is trying to impress other people who couldn't care about you. Spending the rest of your life paying bills and suffering from all kinds of litigations, licitations, because everybody's got their eye on you. And you have to pay for this and pay for that, and it's all lawyers and accountants. There has to be a nice, quiet place where you're safe from inundations, storms, tornadoes, all kinds of accidents, climatic accidents. It has to be a safe place from wars. One of the reasons I chose to live in Brazil, in São Paulo, is because we are so far away from wars. We are far away from the poles, which are melting, and the places near the poles are being inundated. The glaciers of mountain areas are melting. So many countries are disappearing. São Paulo is away from mountains, it's away from the poles. It's also long way from the deserts, because the deserts are expanding. It's like a creature that is sucking everything. The Amazon River is drying. The Panama Canal is drying. So the deserts from Rajasthan, from Pakistan, from Iranistan, from Saudi Arabia, from Africa, from the northeast of Brazil is moving to the Amazon. It's called the desert belt. Nobody talks about it because everyone's clueless. The meteorologist has no idea of geology. The geologist has no idea of climate. The climatologist has no idea of history. And historians have no idea of what really happened. They don't understand that the Sahara Desert 5,000 years ago was a forest. The northeast of Brazil was the Amazon forest. It's a desert now. It's called Sertão, Agreste, it's desert. And the desert is marching on, like the ants go marching on. The desert and the poles are melting. And all this water is moving around, collapsing, inundating the shores of most of the countries. We've had terrible rains in Spain, terrible wildfires in California, because that's the desert belt. Arizona, California, Texas, they're going to get burnt. What is causing the polar meltdowns? Solar flares. We've had 5 years, maybe 7 years of solar storms. It's a solar cycle when the sun explodes and the earth melts and you have all kinds of storms. The concept of Lucifer is not a person with horns. It's the sun sending flames. That's the concept of Lucifer. And during the history of humanity, this has happened many times. The world has been burnt. That's why we have some very dark people, because they were evolved, mutated, in times when the average temperature of the world was around 40-50 degrees. Then we have very light-skinned people, because then we had the polar era, the ice age, when the sun stopped sending flares and went into hibernation, and the earth becomes an ice monster. And people suffer and life is exterminated. Too much heat, too much sun, no heat, ice. Life is a complicated issue to talk about. It's not wonders, and it's suffering. You have to be smart to avoid the desertification, the desert belts, to avoid the ice caps, to be careful of the glaciers in the mountain ranges, the earthquakes, because we have tectonic plates and they hit each other and they explode, they go underneath the ocean. So where is there? Not in these places. It's not about the Hamptons. It's about a safe home, safe haven, a safe place where these things are not going to happen, because you spent 20 years building a life and in one weekend it's all gone. Follow what happened to Florida, what happened to Oklahoma, and what's happening all over the world. What happened to Valencia? What happened in Barcelona? In one weekend, people lost everything that for 20, 30, 40 years, they and their families accumulated, working day and night. So being smart is understanding this. Why are people unaware of this? Imagine the scientists are unaware. In Spain, they had no idea that they would have these horrible rains and a large part of Spain would be destroyed. America, they had no idea that two mega storms would destroy Florida. Because the scientists are not so smart. Each person is worried about his area. Okay? The geologist has no clue about meteorology. The meteorologists have no clue about biology. The biologists have no clue about geography. How come? It's the Western schooling. You have to become a sheep. Everybody's shipped, schooled, directed to work for the big corporations, paying taxes to the governments so they can keep on keeping everyone fooled. Fooled by school. So, there, in the first place, is not a mansion, it's not by the beach, it's not, wow, an island. The islands will disappear in the next 5 to 10 years. A large part of them. The big mansions by the beach will be overcome by waves. Just like what happened in Florida. Like what's happening in many places. So, what got you here, you have to be thankful. Because if you're here, something happened and you were allowed to be here. You escaped the wars, the climactic disasters, the hurricanes. You're still alive. Be thankful. But what's going to get you there? You have to slow down. Think. Or swim and the sharks are coming after you. The storms, the wars, the refugees, the cartels, the militias, drugs. Today in major cities all over the world, it's drug addicts. It's all kinds of horrible things. In Seattle, a person went on a stabbing rampage, stabbing people 10, 20 times. 10 people were stabbed, and maybe many more. The world is becoming a very dangerous place. So there has to be a safe place. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe, because there will be many more really interesting but important videos.